next speaker at the mic is Sammy Kuva. Are you Sammy? Yeah. And she's number 47. Sammy, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Sammy Kuba, and I am a senior at Ballard High School. Commissioners, I am not going to tell you that you shouldn't further consolidate media ownership. I'm going to tell you that you cannot further consolidate media ownership.
Media consolidation refers to the phenomenon of media companies that own TV stations, cable, radio, newspapers, etc., becoming bigger and bigger and concentrating power over their markets. 25 years ago or 30 years ago, only 50 companies together controlled more than half of everything that we see and hear every single day. Now, that number of 50, which was alarming enough, has shrunk to 6 or 5 even companies.
The FCC is a government agency, a federal level government agency of 5 people who ultimately determine media policy, media law in the United States.
In 2003, they tried to deregulate the rules of how many newspapers and radio stations and TV stations you could own. And they did it in such a brash and irresponsible way that the federal courts actually said, no, that's wrong. You didn't take the public into account. This wasn't a fair process. You need to go and do it again. And so they did it again. They had 6 hearings around the country. The last one was in Seattle.
I came today because this is an issue that I care a lot about.
I'm going to be speaking about how they misrepresent news and why is news so important to democracy.
They're supposed to go out and listen to the people and get opinions and then go back to D.C. and carefully think about what people had told them and then make a responsible decision. Instead, they had a lot of hearings kind of fly by night just to say they did them.
Well, it was really late notice of when it would be held.
How many days did we have in Seattle?
7 days?
7 days.
5 business days?
5 business days. What's that about?
It was packed, and I knew that, just as I believe it was Governor Gregoire who said that if we had more notice, we'd have more people. It just shows that it's an issue that really affects everybody.
Future well-being of the entire nation is at stake. It sounds cliche, but it's really true that we, the youth, are the future of the world. I experienced first-handedly the godlike influence the current media has on young people of the nation.
I watch TV and the news and mostly internet and stuff like that.
I watch a lot of news, like Nancy Grace, like MSNBC.
Does magazines count? I read magazines all the time.
I watch a lot of TV, pretty much whatever is on, like whatever show is in.
So often teenagers are seen as people who only see one side to an issue, who aren't fully informed.
Teenagers are shown like they're using a lot of drugs, they're drinking and all this stuff.
I'm represented as the girl who's pretty much getting pregnant at the age of 15, because that's pretty much how I've seen it in TV, like, oh, she's pregnant, she's Latina.
People think I'm like really gangster and all that, but I'm not. I don't know.
Basically, it makes really bad appearance of teenagers in modern society.
After the 9/11 happened, I believe that people viewed the Islam Nation as a terrorist.
I'm misrepresented a lot more than I was back then in 2000. And if you see right now, a lot of people, when you walk on the street, whatever they see from the news, they hear from the news, they point fingers towards you, and a lot of it's stereotypes.
Like terrorists and like guns and like they put like these clothes on, and I don't know. That's not basically like how I dress or like how I act.
We had a protest last year, and we were walking by showing people that we're not terrorists. Most people were like, you know, giving us the middle finger and telling us to get off, you know, to get off the country, go back to where you came from.
I really thought it was important for me as a youth to testify, because even though there's all those adults there who are representing us, I wanted to tell them something that only a young person could tell them. After giving my testimony at the FCC hearing, I went home and I put on the local news, and I was really excited because, you know, I got home and right away it's on the news. It's got to be a really good story, you know. And so the broadcasters were saying, they basically spotlighted the panelists, and there was, I think about 2 panelists out of 20 or 30 that were actually expressing their support for media consolidation and what the FCC was doing, and they only included those testimonies and didn't show anything, any shots of the audience, nothing like that. So they completely butchered the actual events of that night. I mean, I know that the news does that, but I've never ever experienced it firsthand like that. It blew me away. I mean, just having that shoved right in my face like that was horrible. America supposedly knows better, you know. I mean, we say we're all like equality and pro, you know, diversity, and yet we don't embrace it. We don't live up to it. And so I would hate to go into an industry that still has sexism and racism and all these stereotypes. I don't want to have to make films in an environment like that and live up to those standards. It affects me a lot, and it's so discouraging sometimes. Sometimes I just want to give up. I don't even want to be a filmmaker.
Not only did I give up on ever thinking I could be beautiful, but I gave up on my dreams as becoming a successful filmmaker because I was a non-white female. The current film industry makes it nearly impossible for someone like me to become even remotely successful. I am just like the majority of youth in America. If I can't be beautiful and if I can't follow my dreams, what can I be? An insecure, self-loathing, shallow, and immoral fatalist. Is that who you want to rule the future world? If not, then stop further consolidation of media ownership.
Thank you, Ms. Kubo.
We're living in a really fantastic time in that now there are so many organizations based all over the country that are working on media issues and issues of media empowerment. Kids today are coming into their own, and coming into their own as political people who understand how their cultural choices and their sources of information are being manipulated.
I think perfect media is interaction with people.
For me, I think it would be just different sides of stories, different points of views.
I would like to see more small, little local media type of things coming about.
They should have different opinions, such as, you know, people from different countries.
Everybody isn't in media, everybody doesn't control media, so that'd be kind of a stretch to expect some old white guy to be able to relate to somebody maybe like me, or to show everything that I want to see. So instead of placing that burden on them, we should try to get people like us up to their level.